Yeah, yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jamal Haki. And today, we're actually back with another topic of the day discussion. How's it going, everybody? Listen to me. Listen to the words I am about to say. If you see the title of this video, it's gonna be something in the relation to I think how to survive in a long distance and interracial relationship. But the main focus is gonna be the long distance aspect, and with a little bit of hint of the interracial dating on that end.
Oh, is that so?
See, I felt inspired to talk about this particular topic. You know, one of the things I've been doing lately is I've been hanging out with the missus.
Perfect.
You know, I call her missus because, you know, you gotta speak some of these things into existence, you know what I mean?
Facts.
But I've been having these conversations. Her and I have been having these conversations, and especially what our take is on this long distance things that we've been doing. I mean, of course, we have opportunities to be able to meet one another and stuff like that, but the more important thing is the conversation and pretty much our thoughts and opinions and what we really feel and how we feel about this long distance things, as well as touching on, like I said, the interracial dating part. But before I get into that, how is everyone doing? You doing good? You doing great? I'm glad you're doing great, because I am too, man. Originally, this video was supposed to be with, you know, her and I. We both were supposed to be doing this video together, but, you know, some things kind of happened to where the flow of the video wasn't there. She's not as camera in the camera savvy as I am, you know, speaking on the, you know, in front of the camera, and that's completely fine. It's not her job, it's not her role to be able to do any of that sort. She just wanted to be able to do that for me, and I, man, just the thought of it. It's the thought that counts, really. So I appreciate that. But I'm pretty much gonna take the baton and then carry the messages and everything that we really wanted to say into this video that I'm about to do right now. Is that okay? Can I do that for you guys?
Of course, of course.
So how do I technically survive in a long distance relationship? And this is really meant for me to kind of share with you my experience in hopes that it's able to help anyone out there who is currently in a long distance relationship or may have some type of preconceived notion or some sort of fear of getting into a relationship due to the fact that there's some distance involved. I think the number one thing that a person has to come to terms with in terms of like a long distance relationship, like, what is a long distance to you? Like, how do you define long distance? Like, what's the exact numerical amount that would like indicate that it is a long distance? Is that like, I don't know, like down the street? I don't know, is down the street too long for you? Like, is that like a city away? Or like, is that like a town away? Is it a 30-minute drive? Is it an hour drive? Is it like a 3-hour drive? Is long distance considered like, I don't know, across the country? You know what I'm saying? Or is it on another continent? What exactly is long distance to you? And also, you want to be able to answer, is there such thing as too long of a distance? I guess that has to come in mind as well. Reason why that has to be answered first is, why would you want to go into a relationship knowing that you're going to be wasting someone's time if you haven't even fully committed to the idea of sustaining or being in a sustainable relationship with the idea of there being distance between one another? If you feel like you cannot handle that, please do not bother wasting either your time or another person's time by trying to form a relationship. It will not work. It will just only end in failure. I mean, why would you do that?
Because they're stupid.
Like, you want to form a, like, you live in North Carolina, you want to form a relationship with someone who lives in California, hoping that it will work, knowing that you already don't have the mindset to be able to sustain or even handle that distance. No, don't do that. I would say once a person is able to come to terms with a distance, I would say the next thing, and this is probably maybe pretty much everything that I'm saying is important, but to me, this is how I function and survive in a long distance relationship, and that is communication, right? If you feel like you don't have communication skills yourself, yeah, good luck.
You think I'm playing?
I'm being really serious about this too, because if you're not able to communicate properly, or you feel like you're lacking in some form of communicating with your partner, if you don't even have the ability to really be able to communicate with yourself, yeah, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure, and that relationship probably won't last that long. And to deviate or to go deeper into the communication thing, you got to be really creative and just like be really well in terms of communicating with your partner, versus like you just being able to convey certain things like stories and or telling of certain things, sharing about your day, or just sharing information in general. Like if you're not really good at that, you're gonna run into some stale situations and some stale moments, because you gotta think, you're not physically in front of the person, right? You can't go off of certain things that you and that person are both saying at the same time, right? So one of the things you're gonna have to do and get good at is you're gonna have to like obviously be adventurous a little bit, right? Actually like explore the outer world, actually explore what's going around in your town, and actually be involved and do other things, so that when it comes to the communication aspect and the communication part, you're able to reflect and communicate with your partner. Hey, this is some of the things that I've been doing and I find interesting, right? If you're not currently doing things yourself, you got to come to terms with yourself like, yo, what am I actually going to be having a conversation with someone about?
That you
I don't know if anyone has ever thought to themselves that when there's going to be times when they're faced with situations where they have to talk to another person, there's certain things that you're going to have to share. Of course, it's not always about a person being interesting. A person once told me that the goal in having a conversation with someone is to be more interested and not interesting. That means you're probably going to have to ask more questions about another person. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying now is, I'm not saying it in the way that you have to be more interesting to the other person. It's that when a person is going to ask you questions about things that you've been doing on your side, where you've been at, in your town, in your city, because again, it's a long distance relationship. So if someone's saying like, hey baby, like what's been going on with you? How was your day? Do you have anything going on? Is there anything productive? Wouldn't you want something to like say in response to those type of questions? But if you keep giving the same answer over and over and over, eventually it's gonna come a point in time, it's like, man, I don't think we really have anything to talk about. So the level of communication and your conversating skills and being able to relay all these things and connect them all together, I ain't saying you gotta be as good as me or as good as some other elite level speaker, but it gotta be to a point where it can be able to allow you to survive within a long distance relationship. Another quick point that I want to throw in there as a nugget, again, it's one of those things like temporary sacrifice for permanent gain. The whole purpose or the whole ideology behind long distance relationship is you knowing that this is not something that is a permanent thing. Because if a relationship is really a long distance relationship and that's something that's permanent, it won't even work anyways. So now you have to put into your mindset that this is a temporary thing. So remember this tip right here: temporary sacrifice for permanent gain. And that's going to take you a long way, right? Delayed gratification, the long game, the long run. Because if you're just in things for the short game, for the short run, it's not even going to work out in the first place. And on top of that, you got to be honest with yourself. Why are you really in the relationship in the first place, right? If you, like I said in the first step, If you feel like you can't even handle the distance, don't even try to go the distance. It won't work.
Nope.
And just to bring it back really quickly and dial some things back, when you're looking at a long distance relationship and you think to yourself, what was the main reasons why I chose to be with the person in the first place, right? And reason why I feel like that's important to say and note is because you gotta use something as a motive for you to either focus on or to you to like be the willingness to commit to the relationship, right? Because if you don't even have a reasonings for being there, or you don't have a reasoning for dating the person, like some sort of motive or some type, i.e. motivation, if you don't have any sort of reasoning, no type of qualities about the person that you even enjoy enough to even be willing to want to survive within a long distance relationship, that's also another thing that's going to set you up for failure. Another thing is just staying away from anything that could be potential temptations, potential distractions. I don't know how like what goes on in the minds of other people, but I know that if someone is not like really, I guess, close to themselves, if someone doesn't have like a higher level of awareness for themselves or really know who they are, like other things that I'll talk about in other videos, like Bob Proctor, do you know who you are? If someone really doesn't know who they are, right, they can be on some type of quest of finding themselves. And honestly, you can imagine if your partner's not there in the picture physically, like not there next to you, it can allow the mind to explore and take your mind elsewhere other than focusing on your partner. So you gotta be laser focused on like the relationship itself. Not saying like you're thinking about the relationship 24 hours, 24/7 basically. I'm not saying that. But of course, if you think about like a list of priorities, a list of things that a person should be focused on, then your partner should always come first before you. But like, a person shouldn't even come in mind. Like, another person shouldn't even be a thought like, man, but this person is right here and my partner is like across the country. That even shouldn't even be the thought.
Or stop it.
Like if you went through those first few steps that I touched on in relation to like communication, in relation to the acceptance of the responsibility and the commitment of the distance, then no other person should even run across your mind at all. Really, for me, like the distance thing, what really helps it out a lot is the fact that I've aged, I've matured, I'm older. I'm not like in my adolescence trying to survive within a long distance relationship, because I can't speak for other people, but I know my mindset when I was younger, in my yesteryears, or when I was in my adolescent stage, it would have worked, but the mindset of me understanding how it would have worked wouldn't have been there. It would have just worked because I probably would have thought that this is the only person for me, or the only fish in the sea, right? But now that's not the case, right? I'm older now. I'm wiser now. The decisions that I'm more conscientious of the decisions that I am making, versus just blindly doing things due to the fact that I'm trying to appease for someone else, or I'm doing this because this is something that they might want me to do. No, I'm going to do things that I feel is morally correct, righteous, is just, is fitting for the relationship that I'm in. I won't do anything that's outside of it or go outside my boundaries or do any of those things, because that's not even things I'm supposed to do anyway if I'm really committed. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's really pretty much it when it comes to like the long distance stuff. I mean, it's really not much to it. I mean, really, when you think about it, the two largest and biggest factors is for the responsibility and the commitment of the cause, and really tying everything into communication. I guess the thing that I would say about the communication thing, especially with, like I said, I can't speak on other successful long distance relationships, but for the one that I am in, I would say that yes, I'm the one that's I can be more wordy in my language.
What?
I like to pride myself on my ability to be able to converse with another person or my level of communication. But is that to say that my partner sucks at communicating? No. But the thing about it is that notice as I'm using the words partner, right? When you have a partner, that means you're going at things equally. You're tag teaming on things. You're going at it 100. I'm not looking at it as like I'm carrying the load. No, for whatever that my partner may lack in, I'll try to make sure I pick up the, I don't want to say the slack, but I'll try to make sure I am putting in enough work to where it works for both of us, to where the person like, okay, I see what you doing. I'ma feed off of that energy that you're putting into the relationship, and then I'ma take that and go from there. And it's vice versa. Whatever that I'm lacking in or not as good in, my partner's gonna come behind my back and support me and bring me up by giving me the energy that I need to be able to, go in on it 100. Does that make sense?
Facts.
And you gotta be able to have an awareness for that, have an awareness for each other, but you also gotta be vulnerable to let your partner know about your own faults, about your own inadequacies, about your own inabilities on something. Because at the end of the day, we all have room for improvement. We all have room to grow. We're not perfect. So that means that any given relationship that we're coming in as like, I don't want to necessarily say we're coming in as flawed beings, but I mean, we are flawed beings at the end of the day. Like, we're flawed by nature. But the beauty in that is that due to us being flawed, we have the ability to grow and to improve ourselves, to take ourselves to the next level. The last thing I do want to say is not only that it's trying to survive in a long distance relationship, but understanding how to survive within an interracial relationship. I was actually having a conversation, and I've had conversations about this with my partner as well. I was having a conversation with about this particular situation or this particular topic with one of my homeboys named Craig, and it was actually just tonight at a poetry event. He was asking me like, yo, kind of like, not necessarily like how do I do it, because he used to be in an interracial relationship, but he was just asking me like, yo, like, how is everything working? And I pretty much was very blunt to him about things, because like I just let him know like, yo, being in an interracial relationship is actually really difficult. And in my mind, I feel as though being in an interracial relationship is actually more difficult than being in a relationship where you're dating someone within your own race. And reason why it's more difficult, because you not only have to get closer and learn about your own culture, but in order for your partner to understand what you understand, like, you gotta learn more and be able to share it with them. How can I share something to my partner about my own culture if I'm not as in tune with it, like, at all? Like, I have to get closer to it. And the same thing for my partners and her culture. If there's something that she needs to share to me, for me to get me to understand. So you see how like there could be more work and more effort that goes into like an interracial relationship. And I was very blunt and tangent about this. I said, yo, if my partner wasn't as like open, or I didn't have like this ability to want to know more or want to learn more about who I was, who I represent, where I stand at within my culture and where I come from with my roots, if she didn't care about that, it would not have worked. It could not work. With all the stuff that goes on within our society, within the world, from the racism to the discrimination to all that stuff, like, if she doesn't understand the side where I come from, and like where I was born, where I was raised, like this target that's on us and stuff like that, but also the beauty in what it means to be within the black culture. If she didn't understand that or didn't care to understand that, I told him straight up, like, it wouldn't work. A relationship wouldn't work.
Nope.
And the same thing goes for her end. Like, if I didn't care about anything on her end, her side, her roots, her heritage, where she comes from, like what it's like to be on her side. If I didn't care, the relationship wouldn't work at all. And I can go deeper and deeper and deeper about this, but the point I'm trying to make is you got to be vulnerable to learning more and to wanting to learn more about one's culture and to care about what's going on. Like wanting to have these conversations, these controversial conversations, wanting to dive deeper into all these things that's happening within our society, from the different shootings to the cops' brutalities to maybe things that's happening from like whites versus black and what the media is trying to paint to have us to have a race war against one another. We have to know about these things in order for us to grow closer to one another, because when we have kids, what exactly are we going to be instilling into the kids? What are we going to be teaching these kids if we were to have kids? You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it, man. If you want to survive in a relationship, survive in a long distance relationship, survive in an interracial relationship, man, just listen to some of the tips and advice I was able to drop on y'all, man. I'm not saying I'm like the wisest and smartest person in the world, but I am somebody that is learning. I am a student, but I'm also a teacher. I am growing. I am flawed. I am a healer. I am someone who is able to adapt. Like, I am human at the end of the day. Like, I am human. And to be human is to grow. It's in our nature to grow. That is what our body is doing. That is what the cells in our body is constantly doing. It's constantly there in our body to help us grow, to groom, to adapt, to do things in our benefit, to help to benefit us in life. And that's what I'm trying to do with you guys, man. That's pretty much it for the video, man. If you like what you heard here today, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hit the bell to be notified. And if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you check out the affiliate links down below. If you want to just hear more of these topic of the day discussions, man, I got a playlist that I'll probably like link up at the top. I'm trying to pump out more and more content and really focus on these sort of type of topic of the day discussions. I'm going to be ranging for a whole slew of things, from politics to things that's going on in like just pop culture, just anything, really anything that's on my mind, from things in relation to some type of science like thing, the TED Talks. I could talk about anything, man. Anything.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Just like how you guys were sending me videos to react to, you can literally send me topics to talk about. Hit up the email down below, man. Check out the Discord channel. All that will be in the description, man. That's it for the video, man. It's your boy Jamal _Haki. Peace out.
Tell them if they looking for me, they know where to find me. Put the pressure on them, watch them fall like over behind me. Ran up with the wave, I came back with a